Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Chim Richards. Some of you know me through Twitter. Some of you know me personally, and some of you have never met or heard of me. But I'd like to talk to you, each and every member of the Creighton community, on the eve of the 2025-2026 basketball season. There's something special about Omaha. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I moved away from the city a little over a year ago to be closer to family in a difficult time. And I miss the city, and I miss the school. Because 8 years ago, when I showed up on campus for the first time, something felt right. And many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because Creighton became a home for so many of us. There's something meaningful about being a Creighton Blue Jay. It comes out in our identity. I noticed it recently, most specifically, seeing Ryan Kalkbrenner succeed at the NBA level with the Charlotte Hornets. The amount of pride in the community. The amount of people genuinely happy to see one of our own succeed. And the realization that we spent 5 years vehemently defending him to everyone in the country who wanted to slight him, because a slight against him was a slight against us. Every slight against Creighton is taken seriously by a lot of the people online, because I think we understand that our position is so unique and so fragile that it has to be taken care of. And what I mean by that is we're not supposed to be where we are. Creighton University from Omaha, Nebraska is playing in the Big East, is a regular fixture in the men's basketball top 25, competing at the very highest level of the sport. Landing recruits, transfers we shouldn't be landing, producing All-Americans, producing NBA players. This shouldn't be, but it is. And it makes a heck of a lot more sense once you've been part of it. It was my mom who suggested that I visit Creighton. It had a lot to do with being the home of the College World Series, but at first I didn't want to go. Was I really going to go to a school in Omaha, Nebraska that I'd only heard of because of basketball? Specifically, Doug McDermott. But something felt right when I stepped on that campus. Something about the people, something about the place. It felt like destiny. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have met my fiance without Creighton University. Lasting memories, lasting friends. It felt like it was supposed to happen. And I think many of you probably feel the same way. I bring that up because there are other things that feel like they're supposed to happen. And I'll get right to it. Greg McDermott is supposed to make a Final Four with Creighton. The journey we've been on is too long, too improbable. Surely it doesn't end without that. The crown jewel is still missing from an incredible career, from an incredible journey. From Tuesday nights in Evansville to Saturday night primetime in Madison Square Garden. The people who invested in people. Bruce Rasmussen, Dana Altman, Greg McDermott, the foundation of the Creighton University basketball experience that's elevated the school, elevated the community, and elevated the value of that Creighton degree. It feels like it's supposed to happen. And indeed, perhaps it was going to. Something was happening in 2020. It took two devastating events to derail the promise of what was possible that year. And ever since then, it's felt possible. Perhaps with the exception of one season, we've gone into every season thinking it could happen this year. But whether we wanted to admit it or not, this was always a race against time. Time is permanently impermanent. It is always, and it is only an instant. Time is undefeated, and it comes for us. Coach Mack announced that in a few years, in this year, in 2 years, in 3 years, he will no longer be the coach of the Creighton Blue Jays. So our time to achieve that destiny is short. So I want you all to be first and foremost grateful. If you're one of the 17,000 that's going to be joining me in CHI tomorrow, to be proud of that. To be proud of our identity as the Creighton Blue Jays. To be proud of what we've established here in Omaha, Nebraska. What all of us are a part of. What all of us chose to be a part of. There's the old Budweiser video that we used to show. It had the sign poking fun. It said born in Nebraska, Creighton by choice. We've all chosen Creighton. We've all accepted Creighton into our lives. It is a part of our identity. There is something about each and every one of us that made us want to do that. So we need to be grateful for how far we've come. And I'm the first person who has in the past said, we need to stop pretending like we're the little program from the Valley, because that isn't going to get us anywhere. That isn't going to get us to that next level. But it's a part of us. But indeed, so too is where we are now. So too is the fact that we are a perennial top 25 team in one of the perhaps former best conferences in America. That we are beginning to create a national brand. That it is now not an anomaly to have a 5-star visiting us for a scrimmage game. That these are just things that come with the territory of being the Creighton Blue Jays. To be consistently one of the most exciting teams in the country to watch. To regularly knock off top programs and win games in March. 5 straight years of a victory in March. Unfathomable even 25 years ago. But that's where we are now. Hard to imagine 15 years ago, but that's where we are now. So we have that. We have the gratefulness. We have the pride for who we are and the fact that we fielded a pretty darn good team again this year. We fielded a team that could do it. It is on the table. It is possible. It could happen this year. Are the odds against us? Of course, but they're against just about everybody. But 4 teams are going to do it. 4 teams are going to do the thing that we haven't done yet. I'd really like to see one of them be us. And I'd really like to see it before Greg hangs him up. Because that feels like his destiny, like our destiny. Indianapolis or Detroit, I really hope we're in one of those buildings. And I really hope we get to have that moment. Whether it ends the way, the impossible way or not, we want it. So that's what these next couple of years is about. It's balancing being grateful while knowing that it has to feel a little bit desperate. Sometimes the best things happen when you're just a little bit desperate. I'm a Cubs fan, born and bred. 2016 was one of the greatest moments of my life. I had watched the Cubs with my parents, with my mom growing up, and I knew that I was going away to school the next year and probably would not be able to watch a World Series at home again in the immediate future. The window was open, but if it happened next year, I was probably going to be watching the games on my own. The Cubs go down 3-1 for the Indians, and I remember making a pact. I said, if this one happens, I'll never ask for another sporting moment again. Just a little bit desperate and just still not willing to give up that it could happen that year when it needed to happen. What felt like a deadline for me, that it had to happen that year or it was not going to be as special. I feel similarly about this. I think it needs to happen before Greg retires. And while I think it could happen after that and it just wouldn't be as sweet, there's also every world where it doesn't. Creighton, I mentioned the fragility, the uniqueness of our experience. We've had 2 coaches in this century. We've had, what could you say, 90% successful seasons this century? That doesn't happen. And for a school positioned as we are, it's not so easy to dig yourself out of a hole. You've seen it with some of these even former powerhouses like Syracuse and Georgetown. How long has it taken them to reclaim any sort of identity? How long would it take Creighton before people kind of just forget about us? Where is Wichita State at these days? You get one hire wrong. You do one thing. You mess up one season real bad. And it's a hole that's very difficult to climb out of. So again, savor the fact that we are still in the moment, but be desperate to hold on to it. I believe that Coach Huss will keep us at this level. I believe that he could take us higher. It's possible. But I'd like to see this happen while Mac is still here. I think he's earned that. I think him staying here has proven that he deserves to see that happen. I think he's made choices. I think he has chosen Creighton. When perhaps it was a parachute from Iowa State in the beginning, he has consistently chosen Creighton at the opportunity to leave. So choose to believe this year. Choose to go on the journey every year. That was one of the things I've argued the most the past couple years, because I get upset when the tournament ends and we're not there. We haven't done it. While you're not being grateful for the season, you choose to go on the ride with the team. You choose to live the ups and the downs. I think to some degree you aren't earning your fandom if you don't experience the lows the same way you do the highs. That the disappointments don't disappoint you. Because we've chosen this as part of our identity. If you're choosing to be a Creighton basketball fan, that means something to all of us. It might mean something different to each person. But college sports is different. Those of us who have graduated from Creighton, our degrees are tied to that name. It's forever a part of who we are. Whether you care about the status of it is one thing or another, but success raises the profile. We are each a part of that success in a way. So I encourage you to let it mean something this season. I encourage you to go on the ride. This year, next year, however many years you continue to choose Creighton. Because we've got a fun team this year. We've got a team that could put it together. Nick Graves looks solid as a point guard. Exhibition games, of course. But he could be another good Creighton point guard. Is he going to be Marcus Zagorowski? No, he's not. But if he can be solid and our other guys can step up, we can put it together. Josh Dix has a ceiling, and I don't think he's reached it yet. Potential 3-level scoring threat, can do more than just shoot a 3. Can be versatile as a veteran player, and he's coming home to play a very meaningful season in his hometown. Wouldn't it happen with someone like that on the roster? Or maybe that someone's Jason Green, already becoming a folk hero to Creighton fans. He's ready for a bigger role this season. He's going to have to play multiple roles this season for us to achieve success. Jackson McAndrew is ready to take the sophomore jump. It comes with caution. These things don't always succeed. For every Tyshawn, there's a Mason Miller. But I believe he can do it. I believe Owen Freeman can be one of the best bigs in the country. In his first season and a half, he showed all the potential in the world. It's just about converting it now. You have to trust at some point the track record of the coaches. If we could form a defense with Christian Bishop as our big man at 6'7", I hope we can formulate a defense with what we have. In theory, our starting lineup goes 6'3", 6'6", 6'7", 6'10", 7 foot. We should have a big team. We should be able to alter shots. We'll see what the coaches can do. And then you've got guys who, years ago, we would be so excited to see on the floor. And now they're borderline afterthoughts compared to the starting lineup. These are guys coming off of our bench. Hudson Greer, a top 60 freshman, one of the highest rated recruits we've ever had. Fedor Zugic, another arguably cult hero after some of his success at the tail end of last season. If he can be the player that we've been promised, that we've seen flashes of, it raises the ceiling of the program. Kerem Conan looks like he could be a monster down low. He's already, I think, ahead of where people guessed he might be offensively, and his defense seems very capable, if to do nothing else than spell a few minutes a game right now. I haven't even mentioned Blake Harper, who potentially has the highest ceiling of anyone in the program, is appearing on draft boards into the future. Guy was the player of the year in a conference last year as a freshman, played in some big games and did fairly well in them. High ceiling. High ceiling. You've got Austin Swartz, you've got Isaac Trout, guys who could step in and play major roles. This should be one of the deeper teams we've had, and it just could all come together. If 4 or 5 guys hit their ceilings, you never know how good this team could be. If it's a top 5 offense and not a 60th or higher defense, there's a lot that could happen. So what I'm saying is there are plenty of causes for optimism going into this season. It could happen this year. I think there might be a better chance it happens next year. But I'm ready to go on the ride. I'm excited to be back in CHI tomorrow. I'm excited to drive in from Epley. I'm excited to cross over that little bridge on Abbott Drive and see the new Creighton Blue Jays sign on the side of the building. See the new Mutual of Omaha tower going up. Drive past those, the big red light poles or whatever outside of TD Ameritrade, or the Chuck as it's known now. Excited to drive up, coming, turn left at 24th, and visit that little school on the hilltop that just keeps doing it. I'm excited to sit in my seat in section 230. Excited to watch them stop the clock at 14.3 seconds before the national anthem. Listen to the Budweiser song. Watch Blue Crew doing some dumb shit. And see a Creighton Blue Jays victory. Because now that I don't live in Omaha anymore, I'm just glad to get out there whenever I can. So I'll be joining 17,000 of my closest friends who have also chosen Creighton tomorrow. I'm so excited to be back in the City of Dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025-2026 Creighton basketball season. I'm excited to go on this journey with you all one more time, another time after that, another time after that. As long as I walk this earth, I'm going to be a Creighton Blue Jay. And you are too.